Welcome back to the deep dive. We're here again to cut through the noise, get straight to the stuff that matters, help you stay informed. Today we're diving into something pretty fundamental, actually, for almost any modern organization. It's how companies handle just enormous amounts of data and protect their digital systems. We're going to look at some key ideas, concepts really, that pop up in things like the SPLK-5001 exam. That's for Splunk Enterprise Security Administration. But look, don't let the word exam put you off. Our mission today is just to pull out the really important bits from some practice questions and, the explanations that go with them. Think of it like a shortcut to understanding some really powerful Splunk features. And honestly, even if you're nowhere near an exam, this stuff, it sheds light on how organizations turn like mountains of raw data into actual useful intelligence and how they secure everything. We'll kind of show you how complex systems get simplified and how security threats are, managed more proactively. It's useful for pretty much everyone to grasp, I think.
Yeah, that's exactly it. What's really fascinating here is that these questions, they're for an exam, but they tap into the real world stuff, the critical functions, the daily challenges that data pros and security analysts are wrestling with constantly. It's the backbone, really, of modern data management and cybersecurity. Just for context, if you were taking that SPLK 5001 exam, it's 75 minutes, 66 multiple choice questions. You need 700 out of 1,000 to pass, English only. But okay, let's skip past the exam logistics. Let's get into the concepts, because these touch on the real operational headaches, things keeping people up at night.
Okay, let's unpack this. First big challenge, you've got just tons and tons of unstructured machine data. What do you actually do with it? I mean, think about it. Server logs, network traffic, app events. It's all just raw, messy text generated by machines. It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but the haystack is, mountain-sized.
Yeah.
And it's growing all the time, totally unorganized.
It's a huge problem.
And that's exactly where something like a Splunk data model comes into play. So our first question here asks, basically, what's the main point of a Splunk data model? The options touch on things like strictly following schemas, automatically adding data, defining permissions, stuff like that.
And the right answer, the core function, is B, to provide a hierarchical and searchable representation of a data set. The explanation really nails it. Data models take all that messy, unstructured machine data, the logs, the traffic, the events, and they organize it. They give it structure, like a hierarchy, a defined schema. And that makes it way, way easier to explore and analyze and actually understand.
Okay, so structure is key.
It raises that important question, though. Why is this so crucial? Well, it simplifies really complex data, turns it into something navigable, understandable. Even for people who don't know the super technical details of the raw data itself, it's really about creating order out of that chaos.
Like that library analogy we sometimes use.
Exactly.
Imagine this huge library, books piled everywhere, no catalog, no shelves, chaos. Before, you needed that one librarian who somehow knew where everything was.
Yeah, the guru.
But with a data model, it's like poof. Suddenly there are sections, labeled shelves, subsections, all built automatically from the data coming in.
That's a great way to put it.
And the practical results are, they're huge, right? You can certainly use pivot tables easily. Searches across massive data sets get way faster. And you can build dashboards, really insightful ones, without needing to be an expert in SPL, which is Splunk's search language.
Precisely.
So what does this all mean for, a company?
It fundamentally changes how people work with data. It's not just available, it's usable.
Right.
Think about, say, a marketing team needing campaign reports or an operations team trying to spot system issues before they cause an outage. They can do this stuff now without needing a dedicated data specialist for every single query.
So it democratizes it a bit.
Totally. It speeds up decisions everywhere, helps the whole organization become more agile, more data-driven, less reactive.
That really does sound like a game changer for making data accessible. But I'm curious, for organizations with just truly massive, super diverse data sets, does it ever get too hard? Does the effort to build these models become a barrier sometimes?
That's a fair question. It's true. The initial effort to design and optimize data models can be significant, especially if your data sources are all over the place. You definitely need a good handle on your data and what you actually want to ask of it. But honestly, the long-term benefits, faster searches, consistency, making it easier for users, they almost always outweigh that upfront work. It's about building that solid foundation.
Okay, That makes sense. So for you listening, the key thing here is that organizing data with something like a Splunk data model means basically faster insights for everyone. You need less specialized knowledge for day-to-day stuff, and more people in the company can actually use their data, make better decisions faster. It turns raw info into a useful resource.
Yeah.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we've made sense of the data. It's organized. It's searchable. What's next? Well, the next logical step, and often the most critical one, is actually securing the environment using this data.
Right.
How do we use this organized, understandable data, not just to see what's happening, but to actively defend against threats?
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting for me. Picture yourself as a security analyst, maybe in a big company. Your screen is just constantly flashing with alerts, hundreds, maybe thousands a day. How on earth do you find the real problems?
It's the signal and the noise.
Exactly. How do you know which alert is critical and which is just, background chatter? So scenario 2. An analyst needs to quickly find all the assets, servers, laptops, whatever, that have a high-risk score because lots of security things have happened to them recently. Which Splunk Enterprise Security feature helps with that kind of analysis? Options include things like Asset and Identity Framework, Notable Event Framework, Threat Intel, or risk-based alerting. And the solution to that very real problem, the correct answer, is D, the Risk-Based Alerting Framework, or RBA. The explanation for RBA is pretty straightforward. It lets Splunk ES assign scores to different security events. So maybe a failed login gets a low score, but a successful login from, say, an unusual country gets a higher score. Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Then it rolls up those individual scores into a total risk score for a specific thing, like a critical server, an asset, or even an identity, like a specific user account.
Ah, I see. So it aggregates the risk.
Exactly. And if you look at the bigger picture, this whole framework is about bringing intelligent prioritization to a super noisy security world. It helps cut through the clutter to find what really matters.
Okay, that sounds incredibly useful for prioritization. But I wonder, does RBA always get it right? Like, are there situations where an analyst might look at a score and think, nah, that's not right, need to override it, or maybe blind spots?
That's a really sharp question. RBA is incredibly effective, but you're right, it's not magic. It's only as good as the rules and the weights you configure for those scores. Ah, okay.
So, if those rules aren't tuned well for your specific environment, your threats, yeah, you could miss things, or maybe score something too high. Analysts absolutely still need that human judgment. They need to understand why a score is high and be able to adjust it if the context needs it. Think of RBA as a really smart assistant, not a replacement for the analyst's brain.
That's a really important distinction. Still, what a difference that must make.
Oh, huge.
This framework doesn't just cut down alerts. It changes how an analyst spends their day, right? Instead of wading through like 80% noise and false alarms, they can actually focus their time on investigating the real critical stuff. Strategic defense.
Exactly. It multiplies their effectiveness.
And probably reduces burnout, which is a big issue in security ops.
Definitely. It shifts the focus from chasing hundreds of low-level things to quickly spotting the few critical systems or users that pose the biggest threat. So for you, the listener, the takeaway is really about understanding how modern security teams fight that information overload. It's a universal problem. RBA helps make sure the really critical threats don't get missed just because there's too much noise. It's about smart, focused defense. More effective defense.
Absolutely. And, once you have this focus on the critical risks, the next challenge is making sure everyone involved has the right view of that information. Because security involves different roles, right? From the analyst on the front lines to the manager overseeing everything. They need different perspectives.
Exactly. So staying within Splunk Enterprise Security, let's look at those different views. How does a manager, maybe a SOC manager, the person running the Security Operations Center, get that quick high-level picture? Scenario 3 asks about this. A SOC manager needs a dashboard in Splunk ES that gives a high-level overview. They want to see critical security events, risk scores, the big picture stuff. What's the best dashboard for that? Options are incident review, security posture, asset and identity, threat intelligence.
Right. For that manager's view, the answer is B, the security posture dashboard. The explanation points out its purpose perfectly. It gives that overview of notable events. Those are the high-priority alerts needing attention, plus risk scores, trends across the whole environment. What's really cool here is how it's tailored for SOC managers. It's designed to be a quick snapshot, digestible, helps them understand the overall security health, the main threats, so they can make informed decisions.
Like seeing the forest, not just the trees.
Exactly. Seeing the forest, vital for that managerial role.
Okay, that makes total sense for someone needing the big picture. But what about the people actually doing the work? The analysts in the trenches every day. What's their main screen? Where do they live, basically, when they're triaging alerts, investigating stuff? Question 5 asks exactly that. Which dashboard is the primary interface for a security analyst to triage, investigate, and manage notable events? Choices again. Security posture, executive summary, incident review, threat intelligence.
And for the analyst's daily workhorse, the answer is C, the incident review dashboard. The explanation makes it crystal clear. This is the main working area for SOC analysts. It's their home base. It's where they review those notable events, dig into the details, change the urgency if needed, assign tasks maybe to themselves, maybe to a colleague, and track investigations from beginning to end.
Oh, okay.
It's absolutely the centerpiece of their daily operations. The manager needs the overview, the strategic view.
Right, the forest.
The analyst needs the detailed workbench to actually do the work, the tactical stuff, the trees, and maybe even the leaves on the trees.
So you're really seeing these different layers designed to work together. You've got the high-level view for the managers, the decision makers, that's security posture, and then the detailed workbench for the analysts doing the hands-on work, incident review. It seems like a really well-thought-out system. They work together to protect the organization, strategic oversight, tactical action.
Precisely. And that leads us kind of nicely into the final piece we're covering today, which adds automation into the mix, making things even faster and smarter.
Right, because identifying threats is one thing, but reacting quickly, that's crucial. Every second counts in security. So how do we automate responses? Our fourth scenario touches on this. An analyst sets up a correlation search that's like a smart search, looking for specific suspicious patterns, maybe generating one of those notable events we talked about. High priority alerts. Now they want these notable events to automatically get enriched, meaning they want the system to automatically pull in extra info, say, from an external threat intelligence feed, which Splunk ES feature lets you automate that kind of action. Options: risk-based alerting, adaptive response actions, asset and identity framework, or threat intelligence framework.
Okay, for this automated action, the answer is B, adaptive response actions. The explanation lays out how these work. Those correlation searches, the ones spotting patterns and creating notable events, they can then trigger automated tasks.
Ah, okay.
Right.
Not just alerting, but doing something.
Exactly. It's about acting immediately. And these tasks can be things like, well, exactly what the scenario described, enriching the event with external threat intel, like looking up a suspicious IP address in a global blacklist automatically.
Okay, that's useful.
But it can do more. It could send alerts to other tools, maybe ping a ticketing system, or even start containment actions.
Like what kind of containment?
Things like automatically blocking that suspicious IP at the firewall, or maybe isolating a potentially infected machine from the network.
Right.
Stuff that needs to happen fast.
Wow, that's critical. I mean, think about the time saved for the analysts.
Huge time savings.
If they don't have to manually look up threat intel for every single alert or manually block an IP, that frees them up enormously.
Right. It doesn't just save time, it dramatically improves the speed of the response, makes the whole security operation way more efficient, more effective.
So the human analysts can focus on the really tricky stuff, the complex problem solving that machines can't do yet.
Precisely. They're not bogged down in routine tasks. It really transforms how security teams can operate, moving from purely reactive to much more proactive and, well, adaptive.
So for you listening, just imagine that speed and precision you gain when the repetitive, tedious stuff is automated. It lets human experts focus where they're needed most. This is a massive boost to an organization's security posture, moving from reactive to adaptive defense.
Well said. It's about responding at machine speed where possible and enriching information for faster human analysis where needed. Better responses, fewer false trails for the humans.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into data organization and security with Splunk. We really hope you picked up some valuable insights. Maybe you feel inspired to explore these ideas more on your own. Until next time, stay curious.